Beloved chosen one, listen carefully. This message did not reach you by coincidence. Heaven has paused everything around you to whisper this truth: you have passed the test without even knowing you were being tested. You thought the silence meant abandonment, but it was actually divine observation. Every tear you cried in secret was recorded in eternity. Every time you chose peace instead of revenge, love instead of bitterness, faith instead of fear, you were being examined by heaven's unseen eyes. You wondered why people left, why doors closed, why opportunities slipped through your fingers. You questioned if you were forgotten. But this was the sacred test of silence, the test that no one announces, the one that only those chosen by God are invited into. It is not a test of performance, but of heart. God was not asking you to be perfect. He was asking you to remain faithful when nothing made sense. The world could not see your endurance, but heaven did. Angels stood witness when you fought unseen battles. You resisted temptation when no one was watching. You chose light in the midst of darkness. That, chosen one, was your test and you passed. You didn't need to declare your strength. You simply lived it. You didn't need to shout your loyalty. You proved it in silence. You kept walking through nights of confusion, whispering prayers that seemed to vanish into the air. But those whispers rose like incense before the throne of God. Your unseen obedience became the evidence of your calling. The pain you carried was not a curse, it was preparation. Every delay trained your discernment. Every heartbreak sharpened your compassion. Every rejection redirected you toward divine positioning. You are not behind. Heaven has simply been aligning you with the exact timing of your elevation. The waiting was never wasted. Many saw your silence and misjudged it. They thought you were losing, but you were learning. You were learning how to stand when everything within you wanted to fall. You were learning how to keep faith when prayers went unanswered. You were learning how to stay pure when bitterness tempted your soul. These were the hidden questions of heaven's exam, and you passed them all. And while you were being refined, heaven was setting the stage. What felt like isolation was actually divine preservation. God hid you from premature exposure, protecting your anointing until the right season. The silence wasn't rejection, it was incubation. Your spirit was being strengthened for the weight of the glory that's now approaching. As was spoken in the sacred writings of the Psalms, chapter 11, verse 5. The Lord tests the righteous. That means every hardship you endured was divine verification. Heaven already knew your worth. But this was the proving ground of your spirit. You weren't being punished, you were being purified. And now, because you passed, something shifts. The atmosphere around you begins to respond. The spiritual realm acknowledges that your name has been approved. God's timing is perfect. The test had to be unseen so your faith could be genuine. If He told you it was a test, you would have tried to perform. But because you didn't know, your reactions were real, and heaven saw authenticity in you. You didn't fake faith, you lived it. You may still feel exhausted, unsure, or even numb, but listen. This is not the end of the silence. It is the beginning of the sound of breakthrough. The very test that felt like isolation was your gateway to promotion. Heaven was watching to see if your character would remain when the applause stopped, when the likes disappeared, when friends fell away. And you, chosen one, remained. That's why what comes next will not be random. It will be recognition. This is the season where hidden faithfulness becomes visible favor. The same God who tested you in silence will reward you openly. You will begin to see sudden shifts, doors opening that were once sealed. People drawn to your light, peace that surpasses all understanding. But remember this, the test was never about earning love, it was about proving readiness. You are now ready for the blessing that was too heavy for your old self to carry. Your faith has been refined, your heart has been strengthened, and your voice will now carry divine authority. The same silence that once broke you has built you. Chosen one, lift your head. Heaven is proud of you. You stood firm when no one clapped. You stayed faithful when no one thanked you. You believed even when your prayers seemed unanswered. That kind of faith moves mountains. That kind of faith makes heaven open its gates. Now, the divine examiner has set down his pen. The test is over. You didn't just survive it, you passed with distinction. And what's coming next will not just bless you, it will announce you. Type in the comments below as a prophetic act 777 to declare, I passed my test, and now comes my blessing. Like, share, and subscribe so this word can reach other chosen ones who are about to step into their breakthrough. You didn't realize it then, but every betrayal, every door that shut in your face, every painful goodbye was part of heaven's hidden curriculum. You thought life was falling apart, but in truth, God was shaping you from within. Each disappointment was a hammer strike against the rough stone of your heart, carving the likeness of Christ into your spirit. Nothing you lost was wasted. Every moment of confusion, every delay, every broken expectation was a refining fire designed to separate what was temporary from what was eternal. Chosen one, the hidden trials of your heart were never meant to destroy you. They were meant to reveal you. The pressure you felt was proof of your value. Diamonds are not born in comfort, but under weight, under heat, under silence. And you, like the diamond, were placed in the darkness of delay so that your brilliance could not be stolen prematurely. There were days you questioned if God still heard your prayers. You looked around and saw others moving forward while you remained still. You felt invisible, overlooked, forgotten. But God was not ignoring you. He was incubating something sacred inside you. Your stillness was His strategy. In the hidden place, He was molding your capacity for glory. As was written through the prophet Zechariah, chapter 13, verse 9, I will refine them as silver is refined, and test them as gold is tested. Those words still echo across eternity, whispering over your life even now. Refinement is not rejection, it is divine preparation. Silver must endure the fire before it can reflect the image of its maker. Gold must melt before it can be shaped into a crown. Likewise, you had to be broken open so that heaven could pour in something pure. Every person who betrayed you was unknowingly fulfilling prophecy. Every delay was a divine detour away from destruction. When they walked away, God whispered, now I can begin. You were never meant to depend on them for your identity. You were meant to discover me in the silence. He says, you have carried questions like stones in your chest. Why did it hurt so much? Why did they have to leave? Why did it seem like nothing worked no matter how hard you prayed? But heaven answers softly, because if I had allowed comfort, you would have settled where you were never meant to remain. Chosen one, you weren't being punished, you were being purified. And in that purification, God stripped away counterfeit attachments. The people who misunderstood you were necessary. Their rejection revealed your direction. Their distance gave you room to grow. Every time they turned away, heaven turned toward you. You may not have seen it, but angels surrounded your moments of heartbreak. When you thought you were completely alone, divine hands were holding your spirit together. When you cried yourself to sleep, heaven counted every tear as a seed of future joy. When you whispered, I can't do this anymore, heaven replied, yes, you can, because I'm not finished yet. The hidden trials of your heart were not only shaping your endurance, they were testing your alignment. God was teaching you to walk by faith, not by sight. He was training your heart to trust His silence as much as His miracles. He was making sure your dependence rested not on circumstances, but on His unchanging character. Think about it. If He had answered every prayer immediately, would you have developed the depth you now carry? If every dream had unfolded on your timeline, would you have discovered your resilience? The delay protected your destiny. In every storm, heaven was asking, will you still trust me here? And though your voice trembled, you answered yes. That yes echoed through the corridors of eternity. That yes became your mark of loyalty in heaven's record. There's a reason you've walked through such emotional fire. You are not ordinary. You are being forged for extraordinary purpose. Those hidden trials became your divine credentials. Heaven saw you forgive when others would have cursed. Heaven saw you bless when others would have retaliated. Heaven saw you remain kind when bitterness would have been easier. And now heaven says it is enough. You have been found faithful. Soon you will understand why it had to happen this way. The betrayals will make sense. The losses will be redeemed. You will see that every tear was watering the soil of your next season. God was never silent. He was working behind the scenes, orchestrating divine alignment for your future blessing. Hold this truth in your heart when heaven hides you. It is not to punish you, but to prepare you. When God delays, it is not denial, it is development. What felt like isolation was God's secret place of transformation. And now, the refining fire that once burned you will soon shine through you. You will emerge purified, strengthened, unshakable. The gold within you has survived the flame. You didn't crumble under pressure. You became the pressure that breaks chains. The test of the heart is the hardest of all, yet you endured. And because you endured, heaven now trusts you with more. What's coming is not random favor, it is divine reward. You are the proof that hidden pain produces heavenly purpose. You kept going when everything in you wanted to stop. You pressed forward through exhaustion, through confusion, through the ache of not understanding why the struggle wouldn't end. You woke up every day to the same battle and still whispered, "I'll keep trying." That chosen one was not weakness, it was sacred endurance. When others gave up, you stayed. When others mocked your faith, you stood firm. You didn't see the invisible applause in heaven, but the angels marveled. The universe itself took note of your persistence. You were walking through a field of unseen warfare, yet you refused to lay down your sword. Every time you chose faith over fear, you were building an invisible record in heaven's archives. The nights you cried and said, "God, I can't do this anymore," but still showed up the next day, that's endurance. The mornings when your body ached and your heart broke, but you whispered, "One more step." That's the evidence of divine strength working inside you. You did not realize that your persistence was a prophecy in motion. Every breath you took in faith spoke louder than any sermon. Heaven saw the sweat of your soul and said, "This one is mine." The ancient words recorded in the letter to the Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9 declare, "Let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due season we shall reap if we do not lose heart." That verse was written for you, chosen one. You were not running in vain. You were not suffering for nothing. Every unseen effort, every silent act of obedience, every prayer whispered in weakness has been gathered and preserved in heaven's storehouse. Your season of reaping is nearer than you think. There were moments when you questioned your progress. You looked around and saw others sprinting ahead while you seemed stuck in place. But what you didn't know was that heaven had you in divine slow motion, training your character for longevity. Not speed, God was more interested in the depth of your roots than the height of your branches. You are learning how to walk with Him in seasons when nothing seemed alive. That endurance built muscles in your spirit that comfort cannot create. You discovered that faith isn't a feeling, it's a decision. You found strength in stillness, victory in vulnerability, and purpose in the pain. You see, endurance is not glamorous. It doesn't come with applause or recognition. It's lonely. It's quiet. It's often misunderstood. But endurance is the mark of the chosen. It separates the called from the committed, the gifted from the truly anointed. Many begin with passion, but few remain with persistence. You remained. Even now, as you read these words, Heaven wants you to know that your endurance has activated divine timing. You have reached the threshold between testing and reward. The seeds of obedience you planted in dry soil are about to sprout in unexpected places. What you thought was wasted effort will soon reveal itself as preparation for abundance. Don't be surprised if doors begin to open suddenly. Don't be shocked when favor locates you without you chasing it. You have been moving faithfully in the unseen realm, and the unseen realm is now responding. Every moment of endurance has matured into authority. Chosen one, your persistence has a fragrance. It smells like heaven's approval. The oil of perseverance drips from your spirit. That's why some people couldn't stay around you. The fire that purified you was too intense for the lukewarm. Your consistency intimidated what was counterfeit, but do not grieve what left. God was pruning so you could produce lasting fruit. There is something divine that happens when a soul refuses to quit. Heaven aligns with that soul. Miracles rush toward it. The atmosphere bends to its faith. You have become one of those souls. You didn't just survive, you are becoming a testimony that endurance births elevation. You've passed through the valley of shadows, and now you're stepping into the dawn of fulfillment. The same hands that held you in the storm are now preparing a table before you. You don't need to chase recognition. Your endurance has already written your name on heaven's announcement scroll. So stand tall, even if your knees still tremble. You have been forged by the waiting, strengthened by the struggle, and anointed by endurance. You are not empty. You are seasoned. You are not broken. You are proven. You are not behind. You are right on divine schedule. Your story is about to make sense. The endurance that once felt endless will now be rewarded openly. Heaven has already scheduled your unveiling. And when the blessing arrives, that you'll realize it wasn't about arriving, it was about becoming. Now, chosen one, seal this truth with a prophetic act in the comments. I remain standing. Write it not as a cliche, but as a declaration of identity, because those words tell all of heaven and every opposing spirit that you are unbreakable. You endured. You overcame. And now, your due season begins. There are things heaven saw that no one else ever noticed. The world looked at you and thought you were forgotten. But in the invisible realm, every act of kindness, every moment of restraint, every secret prayer was recorded. You thought it didn't matter when you gave without receiving, forgave without apology, or loved without condition, but it mattered more than you will ever know. Heaven's archives are filled with moments you thought were meaningless. There were times you smiled through heartbreak, encouraged others while you were collapsing inside, and chose mercy when vengeance felt justified. Each of those moments was divine evidence of your true character. God was not counting your achievements. He was weighing your heart. You passed heaven's quiet audit not through grand gestures, but through silent obedience. Every unseen act became a note in heaven's symphony of remembrance. The angels recorded the day you blessed someone who wronged you, the moment you gave your last coin with no audience to applaud, the time you stayed faithful when no one was watching. These were the secret proofs of your calling. You were being observed not for performance but for purity. Heaven's observation is not like the world's. The world sees the highlight reel. Heaven watches the hidden hours. When you knelt in prayer, when you held your tongue, when you chose peace instead of pride, heaven noticed. Every moment you remained humble in humiliation or calm in chaos, the heavens whispered, "This one belongs to me." The voice of truth echoes from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 4. Your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. That single verse defines your journey. Nothing was wasted. Nothing escaped divine notice. The Father saw you when you were invisible to everyone else. He saw how you carried the weight without complaint. He saw how you served without recognition. He saw how you kept believing when logic said to give up. And He has been preparing your reward in silence. Every hidden deed has an appointed moment of revelation. You may have felt overlooked, but you were being protected from premature exposure. Some blessings must mature in private before they can stand in public. Had you been revealed too early, envy and distraction would have crushed the purity of your purpose. So heaven hid you, covered you under the shadow of divine secrecy. Sometimes divine observation feels like divine silence. You wonder, does God see my struggle? But yes, He does. Not only does He see it, He treasures it. Every tear that fell from your eyes has been stored, every sigh recorded. Heaven's accounting is perfect. Nothing escapes His attention. You've been walking under constant observation, not of judgment, but of love. And in those moments when you felt most unseen, your faith shone brightest. True holiness isn't found in what others praise, but in what you do when no one's watching. That's why the unseen places are sacred. They refine you. They prove your loyalty. When you chose righteousness in secret, you declared your allegiance to the King of Heaven. It was never about recognition, it was about revelation. You were revealing who you truly are. The real you isn't formed on the platform, it's formed in the shadows of surrender. And because you remained pure in private, God can now trust you in public. He cannot anoint what He cannot trust. And your hidden obedience has proven you trustworthy. Heavenly reward does not come on your schedule. It comes when the heart is fully aligned. For some, the delay becomes despair. But for the chosen ones, it becomes discipline. Every silent season was teaching you to rely on heaven's approval more than man's applause. You were being freed from the need to be seen. That freedom is power. It means no one can control you with praise or break you with criticism. You have reached a point where heaven's approval is enough. That is maturity. That is mastery. That is spiritual sovereignty. And because of it, the scales are about to tip in your favor. What was hidden will now be honored. God's reward does not always arrive as gold or fame. It often comes as peace, authority, and unstoppable favor. Chosen one, when the reward manifests, remember it's not repayment, it's revelation. Heaven is not paying you back. Heaven is revealing what was always stored for you. The Father who saw every quiet act of love is about to unveil you in such a way that those who once overlooked you will wonder how you endured so gracefully. Your humility has summoned visibility. Your patience has birthed promotion. The secret observations of heaven are turning into open doors. The same God who watched your private faithfulness will now make it public testimony. You will stand before those who doubted you, not in pride, but in proof that unseen obedience always leads to visible glory. Your life is becoming a reflection of heaven's principle. What's done in secret shall be rewarded in the light. Keep walking with that quiet confidence, knowing the observer of your soul is also the rewarder of your faith. The winds that once broke you are shifting now. Chosen one. You can almost feel it, the air around your life changing. It's subtle, like the moment before dawn when darkness begins to soften, or the still pause before the rain finally falls. Heaven is turning the tide in your favor. What once crushed you will now carry you. For a long time, you stood against storms that seemed endless. You tried to hold your ground when the winds tore at your peace. You said, maybe this is all there is. But somewhere deep within, your spirit refused to die. That small, quiet fire kept burning, tiny but defiant. And now, the same winds that threatened to extinguish it are fanning it into flame. Beloved, the season is shifting. Heaven is rewriting your atmosphere. The weight that pressed down on you is becoming the wind beneath you. The same people who doubted you will soon bear witness to what God is about to do through you. The pressure that once made you question everything has transformed into divine propulsion. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 30, verse 5. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. That morning isn't just coming, it's breaking now. It's not an ordinary sunrise, it's a spiritual dawn. The night didn't end because you fought harder. It ended because heaven declared, enough. The test was completed, and the results are glowing upon your life. You are walking into the light of divine reversal. Every loss is becoming a lesson turned into favor. Every heartbreak is being translated into authority. You are stepping out of the shadows carrying treasures you didn't know you picked up in the dark: wisdom, compassion, endurance, discernment, endurance. Imagine a seed buried deep underground. For months it looks lifeless, forgotten, pressed beneath the weight of the earth. But within that pressure, it breaks open, and the breaking becomes birthing. That was you. The soil of suffering wasn't your grave, it was your womb. You weren't buried, you were planted. And now, the rain of God's mercy is awakening everything that was sleeping in you. This is the turning of the tide. It's the moment when the tide of tears meets the shore of joy. It's when heaven whispers, now watch what I make of what was broken. The same pain that once drowned you will now carry you to your purpose, like an ocean lifting a ship toward the horizon. Chosen one, this is your wind change. You are not standing in the ruins, you are standing at the harbor of rebirth. The currents are shifting beneath your feet, and every direction that once pulled you backward is now pushing you forward. God has flipped the current, and as this new wind begins to move, I ask you from the depth of this sacred message, let's keep this flame flowing beyond you, like a candle lighting another. Your support keeps the message burning. When you like this message, you affirm the truth you've heard. When you share it, you become the messenger. When you subscribe, you stay connected to the river that keeps pouring encouragement into hearts just like yours. And if this word has touched your spirit, if you feel heaven's confirmation stirring, consider sowing a seed of love, a donation of faith to keep this voice reaching others who are still in their night, not out of obligation, but out of resonance. Giving is a form of agreement with heaven. It says, I believe in this fire, and I want it to keep burning. Every offering, no matter the size, becomes a ripple of light sent into someone else's darkness. You never know whose life may change because you chose to keep the light moving. Just as one drop creates waves across the sea, your small act of generosity can move mountains in another heart. Beloved, this is not about transaction, it's transformation. It's the divine cycle of giving and receiving. As you pour out, heaven refills. As you sow, heaven multiplies. It's how the tide of blessing continues to turn. You've walked through the valley, but now the wind carries the fragrance of new beginnings. The sound of chains breaking is real. You've stepped out of the test and into testimony. And this testimony will not end with you, it will echo through those who hear it next. Remember this truth: the storm was never meant to drown you. It was meant to teach you how to sail. And now that you've learned, you will glide across waters that once terrified you. You are not who you were when the test began. You are reborn. So lift your face to the wind and feel it. Grace is moving again. What was against you is now working for you. The tide has turned and the morning has come. There are signs all around you. Chosen one, tiny whispers that heaven is speaking again. Maybe you've noticed patterns, a number that keeps appearing, a dream that returns, a feeling that something beyond logic is aligning in your favor. These are not coincidences. They are the divine language of alignment, heaven's way of saying, now. For so long, it seemed like silence. You prayed and heard nothing. You asked and saw no movement. But now, suddenly confirmations start surfacing. Conversations line up with your private prayers. Unexpected people echo the exact words you whispered in secret. Even nature seems to agree with your spirit. That's not random. That's prophetic alignment, the invisible clock of heaven striking your appointed hour. Every chosen one has a moment when destiny clicks into place. It's like gears in a divine machine finally finding their rhythm. The frustration of delay melts into understanding. Oh, this is why I had to wait. You see how every disappointment was redirection, every delay a setup, every closed door a shield. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in the book of Habakkuk. Chapter 2, verse 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not delay. You lived through the waiting, you endured the tarrying. Now, heaven says, surely it will come. The signs around you are confirmations of timing, not coincidences of chance. Every repetition is God saying, I haven't forgotten what I promised. The spiritual calendar is turning to your page. Notice how your spirit feels stirred again, how you wake up with an unexplainable sense of expectation. That's alignment. Your soul is tuning itself to heaven's frequency. You are no longer begging for signs. The signs are chasing you. Numbers like 4484, dreams repeating. Songs that arrive at perfect moments, these are spiritual echoes, heaven's gentle fingerprints on your day. It's like a symphony tuning before the concert begins. For months, all you heard was noise, disconnected sounds, chaos, dissonance. But suddenly, everything begins to harmonize. The same melody that seemed off-key now makes sense in the larger composition. That's what's happening in your life. The tune of heaven is aligning with your purpose. Chosen one, you're not being called into a new season, you're being summoned into divine synchronization. The timing of God is precise. He doesn't rush, and He doesn't delay. When heaven declares now, even what seemed dead begins to breathe again. This is why the warfare intensified recently. The closer alignment gets, the louder resistance becomes. Hell only fights what heaven is about to release. The opposition was a sign that your confirmation was near. You felt spiritual turbulence because heaven was adjusting your altitude. You might still see confusion in the natural, but trust the rhythm of the unseen. Prophetic alignment means you don't have to force anything. What belongs to you is being magnetized toward you. The people, opportunities, and resources tied to your destiny are finding you. You don't have to chase, just stay aligned. Imagine a compass that finally points true north after spinning wildly for years. That's your soul right now, steady, focused, directed. You're no longer wandering. You're being guided. The delay didn't deny you. It positioned you. The confusion wasn't punishment, it was calibration. Everything you went through has fine-tuned your discernment. You can now sense divine timing, not by sight, but by spirit. You know when something carries heaven's signature. You can feel it, a peace that defies logic, a stillness that silences fear, a confirmation that cannot be shaken. Don't rush it. Don't doubt it. The alignment is delicate, and heaven is crafting precision. One wrong decision out of fear could unravel what's unfolding. Stay still in faith and let heaven do the heavy lifting. You'll know when to move because the peace of God will wrap around your heart like light. Chosen one, this is your appointed time. The long night of uncertainty has ended, and the morning of clarity is breaking through. The very thing that once confused you is about to confirm you. Doors will open effortlessly. Words will flow easily, and you'll realize this is what it feels like to walk in divine timing. Heaven is not asking you to make it happen. Heaven is asking you to recognize that it's already happening. Don't shrink back when the signs increase. Don't dismiss what seems too coincidental. The Spirit is weaving the natural and supernatural together like threads of gold. When God aligns, no force can misalign. What's for you will reach you. What's meant to be yours cannot be stolen. Even detours are being reconnected to your path. It's divine GPS, heaven recalculating your route back to purpose. Pause for a moment. Feel the rhythm. You can sense it, can't you? Something in your spirit whispers, it's time. Heaven is syncing your steps to the divine heartbeat of destiny. Now, chosen one, seal this truth by commenting the prophetic number 444 below. It's not superstition, it's agreement. 4 represents foundation, order, and establishment. When you write it, you're declaring, Heaven, I'm in sync, I am aligned. Let the angels see your faith written in light. Let the heavens record your confirmation you are not waiting anymore. You are walking in divine alignment. You have known shame, chosen one. You have walked through rooms where whispers followed your name, through seasons when eyes looked away, and through moments when your worth seemed invisible even to yourself. You were mocked for your faith, misunderstood for your purity, and questioned for your silence. Yet all the while, heaven watched and waited. Shame was never your ending, it was the soil of your rising. You see, divine reversal always begins in the place of humiliation. Before God exalts, He allows exposure not to disgrace you, but to detach you from false approval. Those who laughed at you were necessary. They became mirrors reflecting what you had to outgrow. Their mockery pruned you of pride and positioned you for glory. It was never about proving them wrong. It was about proving that grace is stronger than gossip. The rejection that cut so deep was heaven's redirection toward your coronation. While you were busy defending your name, God was busy engraving it on His palm. The prophet Isaiah once wrote words that still breathe through time. In chapter 61, verse 7, "Instead of your shame you shall have double honor, and instead of confusion they shall rejoice in their portion." These words now rest over your life like a mantle. Shame will not be your inheritance, honor will. Confusion will not be your future, clarity will. Everything that humiliated you is about to become your platform for revelation. Think of Joseph, betrayed by brothers, sold into slavery, accused falsely, and imprisoned unjustly. Every layer of his shame was actually a step toward his throne. The pit did not disqualify him, it delivered him into destiny. That same principle surrounds you. What the enemy used to humiliate you, heaven is using to elevate you. Shame tried to convince you that you were small, unworthy, unchosen. It whispered that your mistakes defined you. But you must understand this shame is a liar that fears your awakening. It tries to bind your mouth because your voice carries redemption. If you ever fully realized who you are in God, shame would have no place left to dwell. Heaven saw how you kept walking even when your head hung low. You carried disappointment with dignity, grief with grace. You learned to smile through judgment, to bless those who mocked you, to rise quietly when others hoped you'd stay broken. That humility became your qualification for promotion. Reversal is already unfolding. The same mouths that spoke against you will one day testify of your strength. The same people who dismissed you will watch God honor you openly. But the beauty is, you won't gloat. You'll forgive because you've learned that honor isn't revenge, it's restoration. God never wastes humiliation. The very place of your embarrassment will become the location of your unveiling. The story that once caused you to hide will be the very testimony that heals others. That's divine irony, God turning what once burned you into what now blesses you. Chosen one. Remember how it felt to stand alone, to be misjudged, to have your motives twisted. Remember that pain, because soon you will meet others who are where you once were, and your gentleness, born from those wounds, will be their healing. That's why your shame had to be personal. It trained you in empathy. There will come a day, soon, when you look back and realize that nothing was wasted. The mockery, the false accusations, the rejection, all of it became material for your ministry. You will no longer carry the scent of shame. You will wear the fragrance of victory. God is rewriting your reputation. Where you were once whispered about, you will now be celebrated. Where doors closed, new gates will swing open. Where you once bowed your head, you will lift your crown. This isn't arrogance, it's restoration. Heaven is restoring your name, not for vanity, but for testimony. Your silence through shame was worship. Your refusal to retaliate was prophecy. You didn't defend yourself because God was preparing to do it for you. When He restores, He doesn't just repair, He doubles, He multiplies, He crowns. The tables are turning even as you read this. The people who pitied you will stand in awe. The very places that humiliated you will soon host your celebration. And in that moment, you will understand the shame was a setup for visibility, the pain a prelude to power. You have carried disgrace long enough. Now, heaven exchanges it for dignity. You have wept in secret long enough. Heaven now calls your name aloud. The divine record has shifted from afflicted to anointed. Chosen one, walk with your head high, not in pride, but in purpose. You have survived what others could not. You have endured the sting of shame and emerged pure. The garment of heaviness is being traded for a robe of beauty. The ashes of humiliation are being pressed into a crown of light. When you step forward now, do so as one who has nothing left to prove, because heaven has already proven you. Your value is not in the approval of man, but in the inscription of your name upon eternity's scroll. Shame was temporary. Glory is permanent. You've sown tears in silence, chosen one. Every moment you poured out kindness when no one returned it. Every time you gave your best and were met with indifference, heaven took note. You thought the pain of loss meant failure, but it was the currency of divine compensation. Nothing given in love ever vanishes in the kingdom, it only multiplies in time. The spiritual law of return is unbreakable. When you sow mercy, it circles back as miracles. When you forgive, you open gates of favor. Every tear you shed was a seed, and those seeds fell into the soil of eternity. Heaven never forgets the sower who cries. You've been planting in heartbreak, and now the harvest is approaching, heavy with promise. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 126, verse 5. Those who sow in tears shall reap with songs of joy. That single truth has been echoing over your life. Even on nights you felt abandoned, your tears were not evidence of weakness, they were sacred water. God does not waste emotion, He transforms it. Every sigh, every cry, every whispered prayer that escaped your trembling lips was stored like precious rain in heaven's vault. And now that rain is returning as blessing, divine compensation doesn't come to erase what you've lost, it comes to outweigh it. God doesn't just restore what was taken, He multiplies it beyond recognition. When heaven compensates, it doesn't simply bring back what you had, it adds the wisdom, strength, and peace you gained in the waiting. The new blessing carries the scent of your endurance. Think of Job, who sat in ashes while everything was stripped from him. He cried, questioned, and still remained faithful. When the season turned, God didn't just return what was lost, He doubled it. That's the kind of compensation being written into your story. The season that broke you is about to bless you twice over. Chosen one, the delay was not denial, it was accumulation. While you waited, heaven was multiplying. While you mourned, heaven was preparing measure upon measure of recompense. Every moment you felt unseen, the divine ledger was recording the value of your obedience. Compensation comes when heaven says, "Enough." When your faith has matured, when your patience has proven pure, when your character has stabilized under pressure, then comes release. And that release is never subtle. It floods like a river bursting from the mountain, unstoppable, uncontainable. You'll recognize it not by its size, but by its peace. You'll see doors open that you didn't knock on. Opportunities appear without striving. People who once ignored your presence will be drawn to your light. It will seem sudden, but it's not. It's the return on your years of faithful sowing. The divine harvest never rushes, it ripens. You've been watching dry ground for so long that you've forgotten what growth looks like. But beneath the surface, roots were forming. You were deepening in patience, anchoring in wisdom, expanding in spirit. The time hidden underground was the time needed for depth. Now, the fruit must appear. This season of compensation is not about material gain, though that may come, it's about wholeness. Heaven is restoring your laughter, your trust, your sense of wonder. You will not just receive what was lost, you will remember joy. The fatigue that once settled in your bones will lift. The fear that once shadowed your dreams will fade. Divine balance is being restored. Every act of faith you made in the dark has created a ripple that is now returning as light. Every unseen yes to God has drawn blessing toward you. The compensation will find you even if you try to hide, because it is assigned to your name. And when it comes, it will be undeniable. The same mouths that pitied you will call you blessed. The same places that drained you will now overflow. Heaven is not merely paying you back, it's rewarding you for how you endured the process. There is a difference. Repayment settles a debt, reward honors faith. This is not coincidence. It's divine mathematics. You gave love when there was none left in you. You believed when belief hurt. You stayed when leaving would have been easier. Those choices wrote equations in heaven, and the answer is blessing. Chosen one, your harvest season is a holy one. You will taste the fruit of faithfulness and see that it is sweet. Your tears watered a field that is now shimmering with promise. The very pain that once pressed you to the ground is about to lift you high. And when that blessing flows, it will not come as noise, but as peace. You will wake up one morning and feel it, the heaviness gone, the air lighter, the heart freer. That's how divine compensation arrives, not with fireworks, but with fulfillment. You have cried enough, now you will laugh. You have waited enough, Now you will walk in abundance. The night is over and the dawn of reward breaks over your life. Heaven keeps perfect records, and your name is written next to paid in full, honored in double. Chosen one. The time of hiding is ending. You have walked through the shadows, unseen and uncelebrated, but the gates of recognition are swinging open. What was once overlooked is now being summoned to the forefront. The years of quiet labor, the seasons of silence, the tears sown in the soil of patience, they were never wasted. Heaven has been preparing your unveiling. You will not need to demand to be seen. Heaven itself is announcing you. Recognition in the kingdom is not about popularity, it is about purpose. When heaven decides it is time, even those who tried to ignore your light will have to acknowledge its brilliance. What was whispered about you in secret will now be declared in clarity. The tables are turning, not through vengeance, but through vindication. The Apostle Peter reminds us in his first letter, chapter 5, verse 6, "Humble yourselves under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time." That due time is not a calendar date, it is a spiritual moment. The convergence of faith, endurance, and divine order. You are standing in that moment now. The silence that once tested you is transforming into sound, the sound of heaven's applause echoing through your destiny. Think of how long you stayed faithful when it didn't make sense. You kept serving, kept praying, kept showing up when you felt unseen. You didn't realize it, but every small act was shaping your crown. God does not forget the faithful. He simply hides them until the right moment, until their light will not only shine but illuminate others. The hidden season was never punishment, it was preservation. God needed to keep you out of reach while he was refining you. Had you been revealed too early, the world's applause would have become your prison. But now, you've learned to breathe without validation. You've learned to serve without recognition. That is why the recognition coming will not corrupt you. It will complete you. Your name is being mentioned in rooms you've never entered. Your spirit is being remembered by people you've never met. Heaven is orchestrating introductions, opportunities, and alignments that will feel sudden but are not sudden at all. They're scheduled by divine timing. The gates are opening because your humility has unlocked them. Chosen one, this is not about fame. It's about function. Heaven needs your voice visible, your presence active, your light undimmed. You've been trained in silence for a reason. The lessons learned in isolation will now serve you in elevation. You are stepping into a season where the very thing that once made you invisible, your authenticity, will make you irreplaceable. You've seen others rise before you and wondered if you were forgotten. But now you'll understand that God was saving your unveiling for a time when your impact would ripple further. What's about to happen will not just bless you. It will position you as a vessel of blessing. When heaven reveals you, it's not for attention, it's for assignment. And this revelation will come with peace. You won't have to compete, compare, or chase. The doors will open naturally because they were made for your hands to touch. Your voice will be heard not because you shouted louder, but because heaven amplified it. This is divine recognition, the kind that cannot be revoked, replicated, or resisted. Many will say, "Where did they come from?" not realizing you've been here all along, praying, preparing, purifying your heart. Your time in obscurity was your university, and the diploma is your anointing. Every quiet yes to God became a key, and now every lock is beginning to click open. The recognition you are about to experience is not vanity's spotlight. It is the light of purpose illuminating your path. You will begin to notice sudden invitations, divine collaborations, and unexpected confirmations. Even those who dismissed you will sense the change. You will not have to explain it. Your presence will speak for itself. Remember, chosen one, When heaven elevates, it's never by accident. It's precision. You were tested in silence so that when you speak now, your words carry authority. You were hidden in humility so that your rise would be holy. Every lesson you learned in the background becomes your armor in the spotlight. You are walking through the gate of recognition now. Feel it, how the air shifts, how your spirit straightens, how confidence replaces shame. This is your moment to stand, not boastfully but boldly, as one whom God Himself has confirmed. And when that recognition comes, use it well. Lift others. Speak truth. Carry grace. You are not being exalted above others, but raised so others can see what faith looks like when it refuses to quit. Now, as a sign of agreement with heaven's timing, type in the comments below, "I rise now." Write it not as pride, but as prophecy. When you declare it, you affirm that this is not about ego, it's about elevation. It's your acknowledgement that the waiting season has done its work and the revealing has begun. The gate is open. Chosen one. Step through. The world is about to see what heaven has long celebrated in secret. You have carried the storm, chosen one, and now the crown awaits you. You have walked through the wilderness of waiting, fought unseen battles in the silence, and yet you never surrendered. Every scar you carry has become a jewel in your crown, proof that you endured where others broke. Heaven has watched your journey, not as a test now, but as a testimony. The refining is complete. What was once a burden is now becoming your badge of honor. The letter of James, chapter 1, verse 12 declares, "Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, for they will receive the crown of life which the Lord has promised to those who love Him." That promise is not distant, it is unfolding. You are standing in the transition between endurance and reward. The weight that once bent your back is now becoming the foundation for your elevation. The very pressure that tried to crush you was shaping your shoulders to carry glory. Heaven does not give crowns to the comfortable, it gives them to the consistent. You have proven that faith is not about avoiding pain, but walking through it without losing love. That's what sets you apart. You have held fast when there was no applause. You stood when everything within you whispered to sit down. You have been faithful not because it was easy, but because it was right. And now, heaven whispers, it's your turn. Picture a blacksmith forging a royal diadem. The metal must endure fire, hammer, and shaping before it can reflect the light. You were that metal. The fire didn't destroy you, it purified you. The hammer didn't diminish you, it defined you. Every impact was God's precision, sculpting a soul that could carry the brilliance of destiny. And now, that crown, spiritual, invisible, eternal, is being placed upon your life. But this isn't a crown made of gold or jewels. It's made of resilience. It's woven from the threads of every prayer, every sleepless night, every yes whispered in pain. This is your crown of endurance, forged in the fires of faith. It glows not because of material beauty, but because it radiates divine perseverance. Chosen one, wear it not in pride, but in purpose. It's not just a symbol of what you've survived, it's a signal to those who are still struggling. You have become living proof that endurance produces elevation. The storm was not wasted. The waiting was not wasted. The pain was not wasted. Every step, every tear, every sacrifice, it all shaped your authority. Now, as this message reaches you, I want to speak from the heart. These words, this flame of faith, reach thousands who are still in the wilderness you've walked through. And together, we can keep that fire alive. When you like this message, you amplify the echo of hope for someone else. When you share it, you become a vessel of light carrying encouragement to another chosen one who thinks they are alone. When you subscribe, You join a circle of faith that grows stronger each day, a lighthouse built by endurance and grace. And if your spirit stirs as you hear this, if something inside you whispers, "This word is for me," consider planting a seed of support, a donation of gratitude, not as payment, but as partnership. Like a torch passed from hand to hand, your giving keeps this voice burning across oceans, reaching those whose lamps are flickering in the dark. Think of it this way: every contribution becomes a ripple in eternity. You may never meet the soul it reaches, but heaven will show you one day. A single drop of generosity can become a flood of restoration for someone else. Just as the rain nourishes fields you'll never walk through, your kindness will water hearts you'll never meet. This is how the circle of light expands. You endured so others can endure. You give so others can rise. You share so others can hear what heaven is saying. It's the divine economy, grace multiplying through obedience. As you wear your crown, remember it's not for decoration, but for declaration. It announces to darkness that it failed. It tells despair that it no longer reigns. You are not crowned because you escaped pain. You are crowned because you turned pain into praise. And now you move forward differently. You no longer walk bent beneath the storm. You walk crowned by the storm. The weight that once pressed you to the ground now keeps you grounded in humility. You are living evidence that perseverance pays, that faith never returns empty. So stand tall, crowned one. Let your light fall gently upon others who still stumble through the night. Your story is not just about survival, it's about sovereignty. You didn't just make it through the fire, you became the flame. And as you walk forward with that unseen crown resting upon your spirit, remember heaven is smiling. The King has signed your victory. The crown is yours, and your journey is proof that endurance always births glory. There is a moment when truth begins to rise like dawn, quiet, unstoppable, piercing through shadows that once disguised themselves as loyalty. That moment, chosen one, has come for you. This is the season of unmasking. The veils are being torn away. The false alliances, the hidden motives, the counterfeit kindnesses, all are coming to light. It is not to wound you, but to free you. You prayed for clarity, and heaven is answering in truth. You may have felt the tremors already, certain people growing distant without reason, conversations feeling hollow, connections fading like smoke. It's not betrayal this time, it's revelation. God is not punishing you by removing people. He is protecting you from what you cannot yet see. The truth is not cruel, it is surgical. It cuts to heal. As the words of Jesus echo through the Gospel of Luke, chapter 8, verse 17. For there is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed, and nothing concealed that will not be known or brought out into the open. These ancient words are alive in your life right now. Heaven is shining a light into every corner of your circle, exposing what pretends to love you but secretly drains you. It may feel painful to watch masks fall, but understand this revelation is mercy. It prevents you from pouring your oil into cracked vessels. You once called everyone who clapped for you a friend, but time has taught you that not every applause is agreement. Some are amusement. Not every "I'm proud of you" comes from a pure heart. Some celebrate your light only when it's dim enough not to challenge their darkness. This is why God is filtering your atmosphere. Do not grieve what's leaving. When heaven reveals, it also replaces. Every departure makes room for divine connection. People who will love you from their spirit, not their convenience. You have spent too many seasons adjusting your shine to keep others comfortable. That time is over. Truth is stretching you toward your authentic self, unfiltered, unashamed. There will be moments when the revelation hurts. You'll feel betrayed, disillusioned, even angry. But don't let bitterness root in that soil. Instead, plant wisdom there. Let discernment grow where disappointment once lived. Every truth revealed is an invitation to maturity. God doesn't expose to humiliate. He exposes to educate. Chosen one, this unmasking is not happening around you, it's also happening within you. God is peeling away the identities you adopted for survival. The people pleaser, the overgiver, the one who smiled while breaking inside. Those masks are being lifted. You are remembering who you were before fear taught you to pretend. That rediscovery may feel uncomfortable, but it's sacred. The storm of revelation clears more than relationships, it clears vision. You'll begin to see your calling without the fog of others' opinions. You'll discern opportunities that once passed you by. You'll hear God's voice more clearly now that the noise of pretense has quieted. The noise was never them. It was your attachment to what was no longer aligned. Truth always liberates. It strips you of illusions, but it clothes you in authenticity. You'll soon look back and realize how heavy it was to maintain connections God never ordained. You'll breathe easier now. Lightness is returning to your spirit because you no longer carry what isn't yours. Do not confuse exposure with loss. When the unmasking happens, some will reveal they were never truly against you, they were simply not assigned to your next level. Love them, bless them, and release them. The revelation isn't an ending, it's a graduation. Every divine elevation requires purification. You can't ascend carrying deception. God loves you too much to let counterfeit loyalty anchor you. He removes what hinders your next blessing, even if it temporarily breaks your heart. But in time, gratitude will replace grief because you'll see how necessary the separation was. You'll soon find yourself surrounded by new faces, those who mirror your growth, not your wounds. They won't compete with you. They'll complement you. They won't drain your energy. They'll multiply it. The truth always makes space for alignment. Chosen one, your heart may ache as you let go, but remember, heaven never subtracts without intention. Every mask that falls is an answered prayer for protection. Every truth revealed is a sign of your maturation. You are no longer in the season of tolerating falsehood. You are in the season of walking in truth. As this process unfolds, stay gentle. Not every revelation demands confrontation. Some require only quiet understanding and silent release. You don't need to announce who failed you, you simply need to continue walking toward light. The loudest proof of wisdom is peace. And when the dust settles, you'll look around and see who remains. Those are your real ones, the souls who endured the fire of truth beside you. You'll thank God for the unmasking because, in losing falsehood, you gained freedom. This is what divine exposure truly is, not scandal, but sanctification. It is heaven rearranging your surroundings to reflect your inner transformation. You prayed for destiny, and this is how destiny responds: by demanding truth. Do not resist it. Do not fear it. Embrace the unmasking with reverence. For what remains after the truth stands revealed will be pure, loyal, and lasting. You are being surrounded not by many but by the right ones, and that is better than gold. Something powerful is moving in the unseen. Chosen one. You can feel it, an invisible stirring, a gentle tremor in your spirit that says, "This is the moment." For years you have prayed, waited, and wondered, when will the blessing come? The answer is whispering through time. Now, the vaults of heaven are opening. The things once delayed are finding their way toward you. What was held back by divine timing is now being released. There is a sacred rhythm in the spiritual realm, and it's shifting in your direction. This isn't random blessing, it's recompense, long measured, finally pouring forth. You are standing at the threshold of the blessing release, the moment where invisible promises become visible manifestations. The clouds that hung heavy over your life are not signs of another storm, they are full of rain. And that rain is about to fall upon your dry places. The ancient prophet Malachi recorded heaven's assurance in chapter 3, verse 10. I will open the windows of heaven and pour out for you a blessing that there will not be room enough to receive. That promise is not poetic, it is prophetic. It describes overflow, abundance beyond expectation, blessings so vast that they require expansion. You've been living prepared for survival. Now you must prepare for saturation. Look at your life and notice the subtle changes, the heaviness lifting, the clarity returning, the sudden moments of peace that make no sense. These are early raindrops. Heaven never releases all at once. It starts with whispers to test your readiness. The Spirit asks, will you believe even before the rain falls? Chosen one, this release comes not because of striving, but because of alignment. You have completed the unseen test of faithfulness. You obeyed when it was inconvenient. You kept faith when nothing moved. You planted when the ground looked barren. Now heaven says it's time to gather, time to. But blessings do not come only as money or material things, they come as wholeness. You will begin to see peace in places that once produced anxiety. You'll find solutions flowing easily where confusion used to dwell. People who once overlooked you will suddenly remember your name. Paths that were blocked will open as though they recognize your footsteps. Heaven's release often looks ordinary at first, a message, an invitation, a conversation, but it carries divine fingerprints. That's why discernment is crucial now. Not everything new is from God, but everything true will carry His peace. Watch for what makes your spirit exhale. That's where the blessing lives. Do not let fear trick you into shrinking back. Many people sabotage the blessing because it feels unfamiliar. They mistake expansion for danger. But not you, you've been trained for this moment. The same endurance that carried you through the test will carry you through the transition. The blessing is not coming to overwhelm you, it's coming to honor you. And yes, some may not understand it. They will wonder how everything began to shift so suddenly in your favor. But remember, you served quietly while others were sleeping. You gave while others took. You believed while others mocked. You earned heaven's trust. This release is not luck, it's legacy. When heaven opens its windows, it pours in layers. First comes peace, then provision, then purpose. Peace to heal the past. Provision to sustain the present. Purpose to guide the future. You are entering a flow where needs are met before they're spoken. You will begin to say, before I asked, it was already done. There's no need to strive, just stay open. Keep your heart free from bitterness, your mind clear from fear, and your hands ready to receive. The posture of gratitude unlocks even more. Each thank you becomes a magnet for heaven's generosity. Soon, you will look around and see tangible proof something you prayed for years ago quietly appearing. A door, an answer, a restoration. And you will know this is not coincidence. It's confirmation. The blessing didn't forget you. It was simply gathering strength for the right season. So take a deep breath. The air itself feels different now, doesn't it? That's the scent of new beginnings. What once felt stagnant is stirring with divine motion. You are walking under an open heaven, and the sound of rain is not a threat, it's a promise kept. Chosen one, seal this moment with a prophetic declaration. Type in the comments, 808. Do not see it as a number, but as a symbol, the sign of new beginnings, infinite blessing, and divine overflow. When you write it, you are saying to heaven, I am ready to receive what is mine. Let the angels record your faith. Let the heavens echo your agreement. The blessing is not coming, it's here. The vault is open. The river is flowing. You are standing beneath the downpour of everything that was once withheld. Now lift your heart and let it rain. Blessing is not the end of your story. Chosen one, it is the beginning of your stewardship. What heaven gives is never meant to be hoarded. It is meant to be managed with holiness. The more God entrusts to you, the more He calls you to carry it with wisdom. This is the sacred law of divine responsibility. Increase is never random, it is relational. It means God trusts you to guard what others might waste. Many ask for abundance, but few prepare for it. They desire the harvest, yet forget the hands required to gather it. But you were trained through testing. You learned integrity in lack, humility in waiting, and gratitude in stillness. That is why heaven has chosen to entrust you now. The blessing that once seemed delayed was only waiting for your maturity. The voice of truth speaks again in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 12, verse 48. To whom much is given, much will be required. These words are not a warning. They are an invitation. Heaven does not increase you so that you may boast. It increases you so you can bless. The greater your favor, the greater your field. You are not just a receiver of grace. You are becoming a distributor of it. Every resource that flows to you carries a divine purpose: to heal, to build, to uplift, to serve. You are stepping into the season where generosity becomes governance. God is not just giving you blessings. He is giving you influence, platforms, and voices that reach beyond what you once imagined. But influence is holy ground. It requires a heart that remembers the valley. Do not let comfort blur your compassion. Do not let recognition replace reverence. The same humility that carried you through obscurity must guide you through visibility. The greater the blessing, the greater the need for balance. Heaven is watching how you handle what you once prayed for. Will you still serve with the same tenderness? Will you still love when you have nothing left to prove? Will you still listen when others start listening to you? These are the new tests of stewardship. They do not come through suffering, but through success. Chosen one, remember what it cost to get here. Remember the nights when tears were your teacher, the seasons when silence shaped your strength. Let that memory become your anchor. Abundance without remembrance becomes arrogance, but abundance with remembrance becomes authority. You have been entrusted with divine weight gifts, wisdom, connections, and grace. You must carry them not as possessions, but as assignments. A true steward knows that ownership belongs to God. What you hold is holy. Treat it as such. Every word you speak, every decision you make now carries spiritual consequence. People will be guided by your example without you realizing it. Some will see your strength and learn to stand. Others will feel your peace and learn to trust again. That is the power of stewardship. It transforms those around you through quiet consistency. And yet, even as heaven expands your reach, it still whispers. Stay close. The more you are given, the more you must return to the source. Prayer is not optional in promotion, it is oxygen. Without it, the weight of blessing can suffocate the soul. Be mindful of the new distractions that success can bring. The noise of opportunity can drown the stillness of discernment. Guard your time with God as fiercely as you once guarded your hope. The secret to lasting blessing is sustained surrender. You were never called to build a throne, you were called to build a bridge. A throne elevates you above others, but a bridge lifts others with you. Stewardship means using your influence not for applause, but for access so others may find the same grace that found you. This is why you have gone through so much refinement. God wasn't just shaping your endurance, He was shaping your empathy. You now understand both pain and power, weakness and wonder. You are able to sit with the broken and still speak with kings. You are being positioned as a vessel of equilibrium, one who can carry heaven's wisdom into earthly spaces. So as you walk into this new level of responsibility, let your hands stay open. Blessings are safest in open hands, for what you release freely. God refills endlessly. The flow of giving keeps the oil fresh. The steward's heart never runs dry because it never stops pouring. Chosen one, the weight you now feel is holy. It is not pressure, it is purpose. Heaven has crowned you not just to shine, but to serve. You are the caretaker of what others will inherit. The generations ahead will walk in the shade of the trees you are now planting. So walk wisely, speak gently, and love deeply. You have been trusted with much, and that means heaven believes you will handle it well. The blessing is great, but the calling is greater. And you, chosen one, are ready. The air feels different now. Chosen one, you can sense a new weight resting upon your shoulders, not the weight of burden, but of authority. This is the mantle transfer. What was once distant, you now carry within. The anointing that hovered over your life in promise has settled in power. The preparation is over. The activation has begun. Every prophet, every reformer, every chosen vessel goes through this moment. The sacred handover between what was and what must now be. You have been trained by trials and refined by resistance. Not for endurance alone, but for empowerment. You are not who you were even a season ago. The flame that once flickered is now steady, and heaven has deemed you ready to bear what once felt impossible to hold. As the words of Jesus echo in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 4, verse 18. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because He has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and recovery of sight to the blind. This is more than history, it is inheritance. What He carried, you now continue. The same Spirit that raised Him, that empowered apostles, that ignited revival through ordinary people, now rests upon you. You have crossed from preparation into purpose. The mantle of power is not falling from the sky. It is unfolding from within you. For years, you felt the tension of potential. You sensed greatness stirring but couldn't define it. That was the mantle waiting for maturity. God could not release the full weight of your calling until your foundation was strong enough to bear it. Now it is. The shaking you endured wasn't to break you, it was to stabilize you. Every sleepless night, every unanswered prayer, every season that stripped you bare, they were all part of your ordination. Heaven anoints through brokenness, because oil flows only when the olive is crushed. You have been pressed, but now you pour. Chosen one, the mantle is not about status, it's about service. It doesn't make you superior, it makes you responsible. To carry divine power is to live with sacred humility. Authority without love is tyranny, but authority with compassion becomes transformation. You have been entrusted to heal, to restore, to speak life where silence has lingered too long. You'll notice it how words that once felt empty now pierce with conviction. How your presence calms storms around you. How others begin to find peace simply by standing near. That's not coincidence. That's the mantle manifesting. The same spirit that comforted you in your wilderness now moves through you to comfort others in theirs. Do not shrink from it. The enemy will whisper, "Who are you to carry this?" But heaven already answered mine. You are not stepping into pride. You are stepping into purpose. The mantle does not ask for perfection, it asks for willingness. God does not need flawless vessels, He needs yielded ones. The transfer may feel heavy at first. Responsibility always does. But you are equipped. Everything you've endured has become your training. The valleys taught you empathy. The battles taught you discernment. And the silence taught you to listen. These are the tools of the anointed now. You are not empty-handed. You are fully armed with grace. You'll begin to see divine coincidences, moments where your words unlock tears, where your prayers shift atmospheres, where people you barely know find healing through your voice. Don't be surprised. You are walking as a carrier of light, a conduit of divine flow. You don't have to strive. You just have to stay surrendered. There is something sacred about a mantle that carries lineage. You are not the first to hold this power. You are part of an unbroken chain stretching back through generations of believers who refused to give up. Their prayers paved your path. Their obedience became your foundation. And now, your obedience will become the foundation for others. This transfer is not temporary. It's generational. The oil on your life will ripple into families, communities, and nations. Every act of faith, every step of courage, every word of truth will release waves that outlive you. That's the true purpose of the mantle, to make your faith immortal through impact. Chosen one, you are no longer simply surviving the journey, you are leading it. You carry heaven's authority, not because you demanded it, but because you proved trustworthy when no one was watching. The flame rests upon you now, not flickering, but fierce. Walk in it with reverence. Speak with the awareness that your words carry power. Move with compassion, knowing that every gesture can heal. Live as one who has received something holy, something weighty, something eternal. The mantle is not a robe of luxury, it is a garment of light, woven from obedience, anointed by fire. And as you step forward under its weight, remember this truth: you are not carrying it alone. The same Spirit who called you is the one who will sustain you. The mantle that rests upon you is not fragile, it is forged in fire. You were born for this. You may not realize it yet. Chosen one, but your obedience is echoing across borders. What you have endured, what you have learned, what you are becoming, it is creating ripples far beyond your sight. Every act of faith is like a stone dropped into the waters of eternity, and the waves it creates will reach distant shores. This is the global ripple, the quiet revolution of your surrender. When you chose forgiveness instead of resentment, heaven recorded the sound. When you prayed instead of cursing, when you blessed instead of blaming, the frequency of your faith traveled into unseen realms. Now, those vibrations are touching lives you will never meet, guiding souls you will never know. You thought your story was small, but it is becoming a lighthouse for others lost in their own darkness. The Great Commission whispered by Christ Himself still breathes through you, as recorded in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 28, verse 19. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Those words are not only for preachers or prophets, they are for you. You go not by boarding planes, but by carrying light into every space you inhabit. Your compassion travels farther than your footsteps. Your integrity teaches more loudly than your speech. You are heaven's message written in human form. Every decision you make in love sends ripples into the spiritual atmosphere. The kindness you sow today could awaken a heart on the other side of the world tomorrow. When heaven moves, it doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers through you. You might think your voice is small, but even a whisper can move mountains when carried by the wind of the Spirit. Remember how a single candle can chase away an entire room of darkness. Now imagine what happens when thousands of such candles burn together. That is the world heaven dreams of, and you are one of its first sparks. But for the ripple to keep moving, the water must stay stirred. This is where your presence matters, not just in faith, but in fellowship. When you like, when you share, when you comment, you're not engaging with an algorithm, you're participating in a divine echo. Each small action pushes the current further, carrying light to another weary soul scrolling through shadows, searching for a sign. And when you subscribe, you are not just following a voice, you are choosing to remain in the river of revelation. You're anchoring yourself in a stream that continually reminds you you are chosen, you are seen, and you are part of something eternal. If this message has stirred something inside you, if you feel that deep warmth in your chest, that trembling recognition that heaven is speaking directly to you, consider helping the current flow further. A donation is not a transaction, it is a transmission. It's you saying, "Let this light keep traveling." Imagine a drop of water joining an ocean. It doesn't vanish, it expands the wave. That's what your giving does. It carries the flame to places your feet may never walk, to hearts still fighting to believe. Somewhere out there, someone will hear a message like this because you decided to keep the light burning. Generosity is not about amount, it's about alignment. When you give, you tell heaven, "I trust the flow." And heaven always multiplies what aligns with love. Just as rain returns to the sky it once fell from, every gift sown in faith circles back in blessing. Chosen one, this is your ripple moment. You are no longer just surviving transformation, you are spreading it. You are becoming the answer to prayers you never heard, the confirmation to hearts you'll never see. The same way a river nourishes lands far from its source, your obedience nourishes souls far from your sight. Think of how far a wave travels after the stone disappears beneath the surface. You may never see its full reach, but it keeps moving long after you're gone. That's what your life is becoming, a movement that carries light through generations. You've learned how to endure, how to heal, how to rise, and now, heaven invites you to let your testimony travel. Whether through a word, a prayer, a post, or a simple act of kindness, you are shaping destinies. So keep the river alive, stay connected, keep speaking, sharing, and shining. Every word of encouragement you release becomes a ripple that returns multiplied. Every act of faith you commit is a current that carries others closer to the shore of hope. And when you feel small or unseen, remember, even the ocean begins with a single drop. You are that drop. You are that wave. You are that light stretching across the horizon. Heaven chose you not just to receive, but to radiate. Let your life continue to ripple outward quietly, powerfully, endlessly. There is always one more fire before the final glory. Chosen one, not to destroy, but to distill. This is the final refining flame, the holy heat that purifies what the journey has left behind. You've walked through storms, faced betrayal, carried burdens, and now, just before the full coronation, heaven allows one last cleansing to make sure your crown sits upon pure motives and steady hands. It might not look like fire at first. It may come as silence again, or as tension in your spirit, or as unexpected tests that touch the very places you thought were healed. But do not be alarmed. This is not regression. It is refinement. The gold of your character is being polished one final time so that it gleams without residue. The prophet Malachi spoke of this mystery in chapter 3. Verse 3, he will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver. He will purify the sons of Levi and refine them like gold and silver. Notice that he sits. The refiner is never hurried. He watches over the process with precision. The fire is never too fierce to destroy, nor too mild to leave impurities untouched. He adjusts the flame until he can see his reflection in the metal. That's what's happening to you. Heaven is looking for its reflection in your soul. Every chosen one reaches this threshold. The blessing is near, the promise is ripe, but before it descends fully, heaven ensures the vessel can hold it. This is that final preparation. You are being purified not because you failed, but because you have succeeded. The closer you are to destiny, the more refined your inner world must be. Sometimes, this fire reveals attachments you didn't know you still carried, old fears, subtle pride, lingering doubts, small offenses buried beneath grace. The flame finds them not to shame you, but to free you. The refiner's fire is mercy disguised as discomfort. It will burn away the need for control, the craving for recognition, the fear of inadequacy. These were never meant to stay. The new mantle you wear cannot coexist with the old patterns of self-protection. The crown you're about to receive rests only on surrendered heads. Chosen one, the refining flame is sacred because it reveals truth. It teaches that holiness is not perfection, it's transparency. It's when your heart becomes clear enough for heaven's light to shine through without distortion. You are not being punished. You are being polished. Think of goldsmiths in the ancient world. They heated their metals until impurities rose to the surface. Then they gently skimmed them away, repeating the process until the reflection of their own face appeared in the molten gold. That was how they knew the work was finished. Likewise, God is looking at you, waiting until his likeness shines unblurred in your spirit. That's why certain things feel like they're resurfacing, old emotions, forgotten insecurities, unhealed memories. The fire is drawing them out, not to destroy you, but to heal them once and for all. You've carried fragments long enough. Heaven doesn't want you to enter your next season with hidden splinters. The flame will remove them. During this refinement, peace might not always feel present, but trust will be. You'll sense an inner knowing that this burning has purpose. It's the purging before promotion, the cleansing before completion. Don't fight it. Breathe through it. Every spark of discomfort is forging deeper purity. And when it's done, you'll notice something miraculous. You'll feel lighter. Things that once provoked anxiety will no longer have power. Triggers will lose their sting. The opinions of others will no longer sway your spirit. You will walk in a peace so steady that storms will seem to break against you instead of within you. That is what refined gold feels like, untouchable by corrosion. The final flame also burns away the illusion of independence. It reminds you that power without surrender is dangerous. True strength is not in resistance, but in release. The most anointed souls are those who have learned to let go again and again, until nothing remains but love. That is where you are headed, to a heart so pure that heaven finds a resting place within it. Chosen one, this refining is your final baptism by fire. When you emerge, you will not only carry light, you will be light. You'll speak from purity instead of pain, lead from love instead of fear, and serve from overflow instead of need. You'll no longer react to darkness, you'll transform it by simply being present. So if you feel the flame rising, do not run. Stand still within it. Remember, the refiner is seated, watching carefully, smiling slightly, knowing exactly when to turn the fire down. The moment he sees his reflection in you, he'll whisper, "It is finished." And when you step out, You will shine not with borrowed light, but with your own radiance, kindled from the fire itself. You'll carry the warmth of wisdom, the clarity of peace, and the quiet authority of one who has faced the flame and remained faithful. This is the last purification before coronation. The fire is not against you, it is for you. Let it do its work. Chosen one, the gold is almost ready. The final moment has come. Chosen one, the moment heaven has been preparing you for since the beginning. The journey through fire, silence, trial, and transformation leads here, the coronation. The test is over. The refining is complete. The heavens stand open, and your name is being spoken in tones of honor. You have reached the point where faith becomes fulfillment, where prophecy becomes presence. It does not arrive with thunder or applause, but with a deep stillness that settles in your soul. You will know it not by noise, but by knowing. There will be a quiet awareness, a holy gravity pressing gently upon your spirit, as if eternity itself is saying, "Welcome home." The words of the apostle echo across the ages in the second letter to Timothy. Chapter 4, verse 8. Henceforth there is laid up for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give me on that day. That day is now for you not the end of life, but the fulfillment of calling. The crown of righteousness is not a golden object placed upon your head. It is a divine recognition imprinted upon your essence. It is heaven's way of saying, "You have remained faithful." Look back for a moment, not in sorrow but in awe. Remember the nights when your prayers were unanswered, when loneliness felt endless, when faith was all you had. Remember how many times you thought you would break, yet somehow stood. Every tear, every sigh, every surrender brought you closer to this moment. You did not walk alone, he walked beside you even when you could not see him. Your crown is made from the fragments of everything you survived. Each gem is a story, one for patience, one for forgiveness, one for endurance, one for love. Every stone is set by heaven's own hand. It shines not because of wealth, but because it carries the reflection of grace. You may not see it in the mirror, but all of heaven does. The radiance that now surrounds you is not light shining on you, it's light shining from you. You've become the proof that perseverance produces glory. The darkness you conquered has now become your brilliance. Chosen one, coronation is not about superiority, it is about responsibility. The crown is not the end of servanthood, it is the beginning of rulership. You have been entrusted with influence, but influence in heaven's kingdom is measured by love, not by control. You rule not by power, but by peace. You lead not from a throne of gold, but from a heart of compassion. You will find yourself speaking differently now. Words will come not from intellect, but from revelation. When you pray, atmospheres will shift. When you forgive, chains will break. You have become a vessel through which heaven moves freely. That is what it means to reign with Christ, not to dominate, but to distribute light. The angels have recorded your endurance as worship. The heavens have declared your faithfulness as victory. Even now, the sound of your coronation resounds through realms unseen, a melody of redemption, a harmony of completion. You are not the same soul that began this journey. You are crowned, clothed in purpose, wrapped in the fragrance of divine approval. This new season will not require striving, it will require stillness. Your strength will no longer come from effort, but from intimacy. You no longer need to prove anything. The crown itself is proof. The test has ended, and the blessing has begun. Yet, even in glory, humility remains your crown's foundation. You will kneel often, not in weakness, but in worship. For every time you bow, the crown shines brighter. The more you surrender, the more heaven's power flows through you. This is the paradox of the chosen, exalted through humility, made strong through surrender. And now, your story becomes a lamp for others. You have walked the full circle from testing to triumph, from obscurity to recognition, from wilderness to coronation. But your victory is not yours alone. It is for every soul who still wonders if light can win. Your life answers them, yes, it can. There will come moments when you'll feel the weight of your calling again. And that's good, it keeps you grounded. The crown is not a decoration, it's a reminder. It reminds you of who you are, what you endured, and who you serve. Chosen one. Stand tall in your divine identity. You are no longer the one who prays for strength, you are the one through whom strength flows. You are no longer searching for signs, you have become one. You carry the fragrance of heaven wherever you walk. And as heaven looks upon you, the voice that once whispered in the dark now declares in radiant light, "Well done, faithful one. You have endured. You have overcome. Now, reign in grace." The test is finished. The blessing has begun. The crown rests upon your spirit, gleaming with eternal promise. Walk forth not as the broken, but as the beloved, not as the lost, but as the found, not as the waiting, but as the crowned. You are heaven's chosen one, refined, restored, radiant. The story that began in shadows ends in glory, and the world will never be the same because you said yes. Beloved chosen one, you have reached the end of this divine journey, but in truth, it's only the beginning. What you have just walked through in these words mirrors your own transformation, the test, the silence, the endurance, the revealing, the rise. Heaven has not only spoken to you, it has spoken through you. Now, let this message continue its work beyond this moment. Every time you like this, you are not just clicking a button, you are saying amen to the word that shaped you. Every share is like releasing a seed into the wind, letting this light find another soul who still waits for dawn. When you subscribe, you remain connected to the current of revelation that heaven keeps pouring into this space. And I invite you, leave a comment below. Not just words, but a reflection, a declaration, a testimony. Speak from your heart. Tell the world what you've learned, what you've survived, what you now believe is possible. Your comment may be the confirmation someone else has been praying for tonight. You are part of something living now, a circle of faith, a wave of awakening that moves quietly across the world. Together, we are proving that light travels faster than fear, that truth outlasts deception, that love never dies. So before you go, pause, breathe, whisper gratitude, then share this message like a spark carried by the wind, because somewhere, another chosen one needs to remember that their story isn't over yet. Let's keep this river of hope flowing. Like, share, subscribe, and speak so the world may hear what heaven has done. Your crown shines, your purpose stands, the journey continues.